All right, so first off, I want to say all praise to Yahweh, in the name of His Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. All right, double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the prophets of doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also, I want to say shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I am of that number. Okay, so we're going to take a 1 day break from the series that we've been uh, doing on this channel. We're going to visit the MOTB, okay, the prophecy that is not come to pass yet, but it is going to come to pass. All right. Okay, so hold on for a second because I didn't have anything done previous to hitting the button. So give me a second. All right, so first let's do this. Yeah, let's just in case, let's do the fair use. All right, fair use statement. All right, so copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All rights and credit go directly to its rightful owners. No copyright infringement is intended. Okay, so now we got that out of the way. Let's go to Ezekiel 33 really quickly here. And speak about why we go out on the street corners, why we make these videos on a daily. Okay, there's a lot of videos going out on a daily. I would like to see every video that goes out, all right, from the Brotherhood, and I can't, okay, because there's so many, all right. But on the daily, okay, this word can be found, all right, through the prophets and teachers on the corners and on this internet, okay. But it will not always be like this, okay. All right, there is a famine of hearing the words of the Lord, okay. Let's get that verse really quick. Oops, man, hold on a second. Okay, man, why do I keep hitting that? Hold on a second. Okay, Amos 8 and verse 11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. Yahweh Bohoshim Yahweh Shai. All right, so the days are coming to where you are not going to be able to find the words of the Lord as easy as you can today. All right, and I think this is just me speaking as a man, but a lot of people take that for granted just because they can see the brothers on the corners, see the brothers on the internet. Okay, even have people in their families telling them about this. So right now, it's being taken for granted. Okay, and when it comes to certain people, okay, it will always be taken for granted from here on out. But others, all right, the remnant, namely, specifically the remnant and the elect of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. All right, we are the only ones, Lord willing, I'm of that number. All right, we are the only ones that have true faith, that understand what love is, okay, that hear the words of the Lord. And what I mean by hear is we have been granted with the spiritual power to hear and understand what's going on. Okay. Lord willing, all right, I will endure in these things. Okay. So why do we do this? All right. We obey the Lord to the best of our ability. And one of the things that he told us you can find here in Ezekiel 33. Okay. The heading of Ezekiel 33 is the watchman's duty. Okay. The watchman's duty. Let me look something up really quick. Uh, okay. A watchman's duty, okay, is to stay alert, guard, and protect a specific area like a city, building, or, in a biblical sense, people by watching for danger. Now, this is how important the watchmen are, the men out there that are preaching and teaching the Lord's word. Okay. Uh, Hold on a second here. It involves patrolling, identifying potential threats, and sounding the alarm or warning others before harm arrives. It requires constant vigilance and responsibility. Key aspects of a watchman's duty: vigilance. It says constantly staying awake and alert to identify dangers such as enemies, intruders, or, in a spiritual context, moral dangers. All right, and I like that it said that here because now we can refer back to the series that we're in the midst of. All right, these are moral dangers that we're talking about when we speak of the lies of Esau Edom, of the world. Okay, headed up by Esau Edom. Okay, another aspect of a watchman's duty is protection. Okay, securing doors, windows, and property similar to a security guard. Okay, our protection that we give to the people is the Lord's words. Okay, it's as simple as that. All right. Another key aspect of a watchman's duty is responsibility. The duty often carries accountability. If the watchman fails to warn others of danger, they may share they may share responsibility for the outcome. And we are about to read about that in uh, Ezekiel 33, and then we may go to Ezekiel 3 and 17 also. Okay. So it closes out by saying in the Bible, this duty often refers to prophets or spiritual leaders appointed to warn people of consequences or to turn them towards Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. All right. That was pretty on point there. Okay, so let's go back here to Ezekiel 33 and read about watchman's duty briefly here. All right. Ezekiel 33 and 1, it says, again, the word of the Lord, Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai, came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people. Who is the children of thy people? It is Israel. Okay. Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their coasts, and set him for their watchman, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet, and warn the people, then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet, and taketh not warning, which speaks to most Israelites, all right, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. And that's a position more Israelites than not are going to fall into. Okay, Ezekiel 33 and 5. Why is it going to be like this? Ezekiel 33 and 5, he heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning. His blood shall be upon him, but he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. Now, speaking back towards the watchman, Ezekiel 33 and 6, but if the watchman see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, all right, or give not warning, all right, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. This is why we try to be as obedient as we can. Okay. All right. Um, Ezekiel 33:7 now. So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word at my mouth and warn them from me. And we take all the Lord's words seriously, man. All right. These things are deadly serious. And a lot of the world of Israel and the world outside of Israel, right? The other, or the entire world, all right? Uh, uh, they're gonna find out that these words are more than a fairy tale. These scriptures are more than just a book. Okay, you guys are gonna wait until it's too late, and that's just gonna be it. It's gonna be too late. All right. Ezekiel 33:8 now. When I say unto the wicked, O wicked man, thou shalt surely die, if thou dost not speak to warn the wicked from his way, that wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine head. Again, reiterating the importance of a watchman and being obedient. Okay. Ezekiel 33:9. Nevertheless, if thou warn the wicked of his way to turn from it, if he do not turn from his way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. Therefore, O son of man, speak unto the house of Israel. Thus ye speak, saying, if our transgressions and our sins be upon us, and we pine away in them, how should we then live? There's no other way outside of Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay. He is the life. Okay. So now what this video is about is another warning. Okay. One that we give often, because this prophecy has not happened yet, and it is the next big thing. Okay. The next big thing to happen as far as these scriptures are concerned in prophecy. All right. So let me bring these scriptures back up. I messed around and closed them out. So now let's go to Revelation 13 and 16. Okay. Again, this is where we find a warning. Okay. A prophecy. Okay. This thing is already in the earth, if you can understand. Okay. This mark is already in the earth. It is the micro C-hip, the RFID C-hip. Okay. Something that they will put in your hand. And then there is a technology that will go in your head too. And we'll read about that in this prophecy. All right. These things are already in the earth. Then how can we say that this prophecy hasn't come to pass yet? Okay. Well, at the beginning of Revelation 13 and 16, it reads, and he causeth all, he being the wicked, Esau, Edom, the self-called and so-called white man. Does that mean that everyone that looks so-called white is an Edomite? No. Okay. Israelites, as a consequence of disobedience, you can read about this in Deuteronomy 28, starting at verse 15. All right. At verse 64, it tells you that as a consequence of disobedience, we will be scattered all over the world. All right. In every nation. So even Israelites can look so-called white. All right. And people have problems with hearing that. That's because they don't have the understanding. They haven't opened up their ears to hear that entire thing. All right. So even Israelites can look so-called white. The bulk of the Edomites, though, are in the so-called white race. Okay. So, and he, speaking of the evil one, Esau, Edom, specifically the top banking families. Specifically, the top banking families is the he in Revelation 13 and verse 16. Now, speaking of why this prophecy isn't come to pass, but the technology is in the earth, is because of those third and fourth words. All right, causeth all. This speaks about a time where this technology is going to be made mandatory. At that point, this prophecy is going to come to pass. All right, and this is going to happen. So, and he, back in Revelation 13, verse 16 and 17, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Okay? And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And the way that he is going to be able to causeth all is because Job 9 and 24 tells you that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. This is how we know who the wicked and Esau Edom is, because of prophecy. All right? It's as simple as that. But as simple as that is, all right, a lot of people are not paying attention, and a lot of people just can't get it. All right? They don't hear it. Okay? Uh, So as we stated before, this technology is the RFID chip. All right, we give certain examples like Neuralink, Walletmore. All right, we give certain examples like this, and we tell you it's okay to jot down the names of the people, companies surrounding this technology. But the key point is to go look at this technology. Okay, go look at this technology so you can understand. All right, you're gonna be able to buy and sell. Okay, as long as you take this. If you reject it, this man is going to reject you. He's going to push you, oust you out of society. You will not be able to buy or sell, which a man needs to do that in this day to get the things that are essential to life. All right, food on the table, clothing on your back, and a roof over your head. All right, okay. So what we're gonna do again, okay, is um, look at these companies and ask and see what has happened in this past week that deals with this technology, these companies, or all right, certain laws or policies that have passed that um, um, that most of the population does not know about. All right, because this man is sly, he's slick. He always tries to keep his plans on the low, or what he's doing on the low. So he throws out distractions. Okay, he throws out distractions, and that causeth all actually even goes back to not only making mandatory, but that down in the definition of causeth all, it says to make ready, and so at the same time to institute. All right, so they'll cause certain problems that garner certain reactions, and then enabling them the chance and the ability to bring on their solution. All right, you can look at the year 2020, uh, uh, and things that happen around that year, if you know what I'm talking about, right? To see some type of methods that he'll use to push their solution, all right? And it's going to be on a whole nother level when it comes to this, all right? The threats that they make are not going to be empty threats. In 2020, threats were made about job loss, uh, not being able to travel, things like this. But hey, some people didn't fall for it, and it seemed like a test run. All right, I'm not saying it was a test run, but it seemed like a test run. All right, so let's look at some of this. Let's ask Google, and you're gonna have to forgive me. I'm not the fastest typer in the world. Probably closer to the slowest uh, typer in the world. So let me see. Um, what what advancements? Let me see. Let me start. Let me start a different way. In the week of, what was that? January, February 2. Uh, Let me look at the calendar because I don't even know the date last. Let me see if I can see the date. Uh, yeah, let me check this date really quickly here. All right, give me a second. What was the date last Sunday? Do you know? It's like the 23rd.
No, the 23rd fell on a Monday, I think, so I think it's the
22nd.
22nd.
All right. All right. Excuse me. All right. In the week of February. Oops. February 22nd. Okay. So in the week of 2/22, 2026, what advancements were made with Walletmore, Neuralink, Synchron Paradromics, I'll put what, if any. Uh, Precision Neuroscience, BlackRock Neurotech, or any other brain to brain in the week of 2/22, 2026, what, if any, advancements were made with Walletmore, Neuralink, Synchron Paradromics, Precision Neuroscience, BlackRock Neurotech, and any other brain-to-brain communication technologies? Also, what what, if any, policies or laws passed pertaining to digital IDs or any steps that could lead toward a mandatory implant, even if I don't even know what to ask. Hmm. Okay. In the week of 2/22, 2026, what, if any, advancements were made with Walletmore, Okay, all those companies that we named, or any other brain-to-brain communication technologies. Also, what, if any, policies or laws passed pertaining to digital IDs, or any steps that uh, that could, oh man, point. I'll just put point. Any man, any steps that could point toward a mandatory microchip implant, even if not plainly pointing toward a mandatory implant outright. All right, so we'll just see what it says here. All right, let's go. Let's see. All right, so AI overview. Okay, it says in the week of February 22, 2026, developments in brain computer interfaces, or BCIs, and digital identity centered on scaling up production for medical applications and new, non mandatory digital ID alternatives for travel. Advancements in neurotechnology, week of February 22nd, 2026. It says Neuralink. All right. Following Elon Musk's January 1, 2026 announcement, the company is moving toward high volume production and automated robot assisted surgical procedures for its brain implants to treat paralysis, aimed at scaling up throughout 2026. And this is always going to sound like a good idea. Okay? This is why it is important to consider the Lord, all right, so that you won't get deceived. Okay? It sounds nice that somebody will be able to deal with paralysis or blindness or uh, being deaf. Okay? But is it worth, all right, turning your back on Yahweh and Yahweh Shai? Okay? The answer should be no. All right? Nothing is worth that. Okay? But since people don't consider the scriptures nor who the true people are, okay, they're not going to consider um, the Lord's or the words of the Lord, okay. So they're just going to keep on staying in their in darkness and think that everything is cool. Just because you are at liberty to do something doesn't mean that you should. And everything that sounds good is not necessarily good for you, man. All right. This is why, again, it's important to filter everything through the scriptures. All right. And only the remnant and the elect are going to take heed to this. It's as simple as that. As far as Synchron, it says, as of late February 2026, Synchron continued its U.S. clinical trial, aiming to implant its Stentrol device in 6 patients. This happened to be 6, right? To allow those with severe paralysis to control digital devices. All right. Oh, listen out for peace, convenience, safety, things like that. All right. As far as paradromics, it says the company continued to differentiate itself by focusing on higher data rates, 200 plus BPS, and long term biocompatible implants with Connexus BCI designed to last for decades. That is one thing I have at the bottom of this, and I didn't put it on here. We'll go in. We'll look at Connexus the next time, Lord willing. All right. So as far as let me see. Let me read that again. Paradromics. All right. The company continued to differentiate itself by focusing on higher data rates and long-term biocompatible implants with Connexus BCI designed to last for decades. All right. As far as precision neuroscience, it says in January 2026, the company partnered with Medtronic to integrate its layer 7 cortical interface. Okay. Which sits on top of the brain rather than penetrating it with Medtronic's surgical navigation system. Okay, now as far as brain to brain, let's see. It says in research highlighted in late February 2026 included the use of transcranial focused ultrasound, or lowercase t f u s, TFUS, to explore two-way brain to brain communication. Additionally, AI models are increasingly being used to create personalized, closed loop neural rehabilitation, moving toward more autonomous BCI systems. All right, digital ID policies and potential mandatory implants is what it's going to go into next. Uh, Hold on a second here. All right, yeah, I'm gonna cut it right here and come back, Lord willing, with part two, just picking right up where we left off. All right, so I hope this came through so far as sincere and edifying. And with that, I want to say all praise to Yahweh in the name of His Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. All right, double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the prophets of doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also, I want to say shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I'm of that number, and Lord willing, we'll see you in the next video. Shalom.